Welcome everybody to the Advanced Dungeons and Dynamics 365 bare bones configuration live stream. And for those of you that have just stumbled on what we're doing here, what we're doing is we're setting up Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations, not CE, right now from the ground up. So we're working through all of the base setup and working through all the modules. And by the end of this live stream, bear with me for a second. Yeah, I'm just checking. It doesn't look like we have sound, so I'm just working through that small technical glitch. What we're going to do is we're going to try something just a little bit different. Oh. So apparently we do have sound. Apparently we do have sound, just I couldn't hear it. So let's continue on here and work through. And sorry for that little bit of a glitch. So let me just set everything up here. Okay, so with that said, for all of you that sort of sat through that moment, I had the wrong plug in the wrong hole, so that sort of solves that problem. So what we're doing is we're working through the setup of Dynamics 365. Now, in the past episode, what we did is we started working through the we started working through the configuration. Let me just make. Okay. We started working through the configuration of the accounts payable area, and we set up all of the default information for the accounts payable, and we set up the controls. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work through and we're going to set up the some vendors. So we're going to just like we did in the accounts receivable, we're going to set up some vendors. We're going to modify the numbering sequence. We're going to create some vendor groups, and then we're going to create some vendor accounts. And depending on how much time we had, because of my cord snafu, then we may get to importing vendors as well in the system. So with that said, let's rock on and get through here. So what we're doing is we're working through in the lab environment, and this is the lab environment that we've got set up. This is for the Waterdeep Trading Company, and right now, if we go to accounts payable and go to the vendors, then we'll notice that we don't have any accounts. So we don't have anything set up right now that we can manage. So we're going to fix that, and we're going to configure the vendors. Now, what we're doing is we're working through For those of you that have seen this, we're working through the bare bones configuration guides, and we're on actually on the 6th module. So there's I've completed 10, the 6th sort of group of modules that we're working, and we're going through the 6th version of the 6th area right now, which is accounts receivable. Now, this, when we go out and when we set up our vendors, we can use automatic numbering, or we can go out and we can use manual numbering. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off this by modifying the number sequences to the automatic, from automatic numbering to manual, so that we can go out and we can have our vendors named sort of the same way that we did with our customers. So if I go out and look at my customers, then rather than having numbers, we've got vendor names. That makes it easier for us to see the vendors. In this case, we don't have a huge amount, and we can manage that. So we're going to start walking through the bare bones configuration guide and details, just like you would be doing in the system. And we start off with the numbering sequences and modifying the numbering sequences. And to do that, we've done this before, but really all we're going to do is we're going to change the vendor number so that it's, again, it's not going to be an automatic number. So let's go and look at how we do that. And the easiest way to get to go out and start doing this with the numbering sequence is to go into the accounts payable parameters. Now I can access this through the menu. For some reason, whenever I set up the parameters, I just go straight to the menu and find it, or we can go do a search for the accounts payable parameters through the menu search. So I'm going to use that option, and then we're going to see some of the parameters. I think we looked at some of these parameters in the previous live stream, but we're going to go over here to the number sequences. So here are all the controls, all the ways that we number everything that we've got in the system. And there's one number sequence here, which is for the vendor account. So I want to go out and I want to access this, and I'm going to use the the drill through menu in order to access this. And I'm going to go from the number sequence for the vendor account into the details. And then this is what this is going to do is it's going to take me into the number sequence, and then I can go out and I can make my modifications. So first of all, I'm going to make this a manual number sequence. Then also what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove some of the constraints. And I'm going to get rid of even though this is specific to the Waterdeep Trading Company, I'm getting rid of the number, the prefix, and the constant, although these will not be used. So I'm just doing this just to tidy things up in the system. And then I'm setting this as a manual number sequence. So that's all I need to do here in order to maintain this. So this is a quick and easy way to gain some experience in dynamics and work through the number sequences. But I'm just sort of changing this just a little bit. So now what we're going to do is, if I tried to go out and create a new vendor, it wouldn't allow me, because I need to go out and I need to have a vendor group associated with my vendor. And I can have a number of different vendor groups. And if I look at these, I'm going to actually set up some standard ones, which are for parts suppliers and services and intercompany and others. Then also I'm going to set up some Faerûnian vendor groups as well, so that I can that I may need to do business in Waterdeep, so that we can segregate out all of our vendors. So all of these are going to be really simple to set up, and I think I might be able to also do a cut and paste for some of these. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to here, and I'm going to look for vendor groups. So I'm doing the menu search here to find vendor groups, but also I can go over to the accounts payable and vendors and find the vendor groups here in the menu item. And then all I need to do to create a vendor group is just say new, and this is, I'm going to create one for parts supplier, and this is going to be parts supplier or parts suppliers, and I'm going to set up a payment terms that I have for the supplier. So any machinery or any parts that I get from or that I have vendors relationships with, then I'm going to classify those vendors with this. Now, also what I can do is I want to set up these additional vendor groups here. So let's just copy these, and then I'm going to go back here to Dynamics, and I'm just going to paste those in. So the good thing with the tables is you can do this cut and paste. And I've now set up service suppliers, intercompany vendors. So when I have other legal entities in different realms within Faerûn, or even elsewhere in the world of Eberron, I think that's what it's called, then I can have intercompany vendors. I can have tax authorities, government agencies that I'm paying to, and also other suppliers. And then also what I can do is I'm going to go out and I want to have my domain specific vendors grouped as well. So we've got some other ones here. So we've got guilds, and we've got magic suppliers and credit and faction aligned vendors, and also vendors that we may barter with as well. And I'm just going to go down here. I'm going to create a new line, and I'm going to add this. So I'm going to save this. And I actually don't have a net 20 here, so I'm going to give them net 15, net 10, day of month. So let's fix that and save that. And then this item had a day of month of 30, but we actually only have a day of month of 20, so let's save that. So as you can see, as I'm moving through this, it's going out and it's finding if there are errors, and it's stopping me as I'm moving through. So the cutting and pasting works, but this is now going to be have different payment terms associated with it because of variations that we've got in the data. So now I've got all of my different vendor groups configured in the system. So this is great. Now we could go out and create more if we want to, and I like to use these to segregate out different types of vendors, just like I do with customers. With customers, we've got taverns and merchants, and we've got wholesale suppliers. Here I'm saying, what am I buying, and what are the types of services or products that I'm buying from these vendors. So that's the setup of the vendor groups. So that was pretty easy and not really a big problem to do. So now we're going to move on, and we're going to create some vendor accounts. And the vendor account that I'm going to set up is the Bakers Guild. So we've got, working through the documentation, we've actually got some information that we need to set up here along the way. And we're going to see the full build out of our vendor and our vendor details. And maybe we'll create some more vendors. We'll get GPT to create some vendors for us in just a second. But I'm going to go out and show you how to create a new vendor. So I'm going to go back to here, and I can just do a search for all vendors if I want to get to the page that allows me to go out and configure my vendors. Or I can go from the accounts payable over to vendors as well. There's some shared information. So I think if we go to procurement, then we can actually get to the same screen that we want to through procurement. We'll get to that later on in the series, but we're actually going to be getting to the same screen regardless of which way we have access to this. Let me see. And if we go into the, we don't have any options here in the vendor in any of the workspaces, except for the link down here to the all vendors as well. So now I'm going to go out and I'm going to create my new vendor. When we set up a customer, it popped up with sort of like a quick creation screen that allowed us to fill in all the core information for the customer. For the vendor, it's going straight to the big screen here. And because I've got my manual numbering turned on, then I can go out and I can just type in a vendor account. And I'm going to choose the Bakers Guild as the name of the vendor. The search name is, I'll set that as Bakers Guild. And then the vendor that I'm setting up here is going to be for the group is going to be Guild vendors. So now that we've done that, we've created the main information of our vendor, and I can go out and I can save that. So there's a lot of information is already set up here. So we've got the language, Faerûnian Common that's set up here, and we've got the collaboration is not activated right now. That's going to be for purchasing, and we'll maybe set that up later on. And I'm going to go out and add a new address for the vendor. Now, I don't know let me see if I've got this here. Let me just pull this up here. So I don't actually know what the address is for the vendor in Waterdeep. So let's go and just ask that, and we'll get some general information. Let's just skip the thinking for now and go straight to the data. And let's pull up the address. And it's saying I can't find it, but create one. Although we've got the address here. So this is going to be on the Street of Swords. So I'm going to choose this and go back to here. So now we've got the address. So this is going to be 01 Waterdeep. It's going to be the zip code that we're going to have, which is the Waterdeep Center. And then we're going to say this is the Master Baker's Hall. Or actually, we're going to say the address is the Master Baker's Hall. And let's say that this is 13 Swords. And this is in Waterdeep, and this is going to be in Castle Ward. So we're filling in all the core information that we've got here. This is going to be our primary address. And actually, ChatGPT came back and it's 18, the 18th Street of Swords and Sword Coast. And if I go back and look at what was created, just to give you an idea, then here we've got some of the information coming back, including using the address and logistics information. We've got the address coming back with the zip code, and then also the larger zip code that we've got there. So I thought I'd show that just to show off. So now that we're going to go out and create that, then we've got an address that's associated with the Master Baker's Hall. And I'm just pulling up the email address and the phone number. So what we're going to do is we're going to also set up the contact information that we've got here. So we're going to have our mirror ID, and this is just going to pull in that ID that we've got here, and then also I'm going to use the Faerûnian email address that we've got here for the email account. Email address, and both of these I'm going to mark as primary. So if I look back here, I think we've got the address, we've got the contact information, and then also if we look through the vendor profile, I'm going to look at some other information. We don't have the buyer groups specified yet. I'm not going to specify any of the vendor profile. One thing that I do want to do is I want to go and change the payment here, and the method of payment that they're going to pay is going to be through check. We're not going to have any payment specification or any cash discounts just yet. And we've got, I think that's all the information that we can actually specify right now that we've got configured in the system. So let's save that. And now we've gone out and we've created one of our vendors. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, let's see. I'm going to try just something quickly here. Because the next step, what we want to do is we want to go out and we want to create vendors en masse. And there's already a default way that we can do that using the Excel templates. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold off on that, and I'm going to talk about that in the next live stream. I'll show how to use the Office import to load in the vendors and also maintain the vendors. I'll also show how to create a template for the vendors as well that we can use as an import, so that then we can just cut and paste information directly into the Excel spreadsheet and publish it. Then also how we can go and maintain that, especially using the grids. So because of the small sort of mix-up that we had at the beginning of the hour, let's stop here and we'll wait for the next live stream, which should be for tomorrow for anyone who's watching this live, or it should just be one click away for anyone who's watching this after the recorded videos. So with that said, I'm going to stop and make sure that all of my hardware and my audio is all correct for everyone for the next time, and we'll meet on the next live stream.